Hello, everybody out there on the internet. How are you? It's nice to see you again. Open Mic Monday. I'm excited about Christmas. I'm ready for Christmas. Hey, Dan boy, how you doing, mate? I'm just excited for food. I'm excited for family. I'm excited for that little break we're getting. You know that little 5-day thing where you get to see other people for a while? Yeah, I'm excited about that. Hey, Mark. Not seen you in ages, mate. How are you, mate? Hey, Marco. Ollie. Hi, Ollie. Nice to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Working hard, studying hard. Hello, Han. My wife, who is sitting in the next room. Oh, did you enjoy the gathering, Dan? Oh, yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Really powerful. Did you join online, or were you there? Because I didn't see you in there. So if you were there, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you. I do get mobbed a little bit after the gathering by people wanting to talk, and then obviously I had the Sprogler Eden with me, which is a good thing because I love her. Oh, mate. Well, Danny, next time that you're there on the Sunday, mate, make sure you come and say hi. It's been ages. It's been a few months since I've had a good chat with you. Claire's on the line. Hi, Claire. Taking a break from answering calls for the ambulance service. Hope it's going okay. I'm sure you're busy this time of year. Okay, so a bit of Q&A. If you're online with me today, hello tribe, nice to see you. It's nice to see if you're watching this back. Get quite a lot of people watching this after the fact because 8 o'clock on Monday nights, bath night for a lot of people, you know. Bath or gin, or both at the same time. So hi, if you're joining me, tribe, nice to see you guys. We're talking about failure today, how in public speaking, how do you frame failure so it becomes positive, how it becomes a good influence. So I hope it's going to help. But first of all, I had a question just the other day, I think it was Friday, about Zoom. So someone wants to know how to do a good Zoom. So I gave him a tip. Not that I'm Gandhi, Jesus, or Scooby-Doo, but something that works for me, if you've got to do a lot of Zooms or you're in a lot, if you've got to lead meetings or do presentations over Zoom, number one principle in a Zoom is engagement. How do you engage? Engage them. Get them active. A lot of people on Zoom now, because they've been Zooming so much, some of them don't even wear pants anymore, and you don't even realise. I heard one story of a guy who had hair football on in the background during a work call. I think it was a Google Hangout, I think. It's some kind of work meeting online. He's watching football silently. Maybe you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so it's really difficult these days because everyone's zoomed out. So it's really easy for people to be half in, half out whenever you're on a Zoom. So engagement is the number one thing when doing a Zoom. So how do you engage people? Talk to them as if you're face to face. Don't speak to them as if they're like part of this anonymous group. You know, either look into the camera. Don't look at yourself while you're doing, because people know you're not looking at them. Am I right? There's a difference. I'm engaging you. I'm talking to you like a human. I'm talking to you, and I'm actually looking at myself, looking at me, thinking, I do not look in good shape. Look into the camera. The best thing to do to engage people is get them to do something immediately and easily. So when you say, hey, you know, you're chatting in Zoom, or put it in the chat feed, your favorite snack. You know, put it in the chat feed. What's your best memory? Who's your best teacher at school? Get them to do something, because then that just keeps all the time, their engagement, their attention all the time. This guy who asked me for some tips on the phone, and not drink a cup of tea. Oh, you have to. Oh, it feels good. What are you drinking, Mark? What's in your cup right now? Each of you tell me what you're drinking. I want to know, because you see me slurp tea which I do apologise. I slurp tea every Insta Live I do about communication, which isn't a really good communication tool, but just show me, what are you drinking at the minute? Is it tea? Is it coffee? You shouldn't be drinking coffee unless it's decaf. Gin. I don't know, whatever. Hot Vimto. That's on the cards these days. Oh, very clever, Mark. Yeah, because you're fully engaged. I get that, mate. Okay, so that's a little bit about Zoom. Now, if you do have any questions about communication, let me know, and I'll see if I've got anything I can bring to the table to sort of help you. Okay, I want to talk about failure. Failure is a big killer. We've only got 10 minutes left, if that, so I really want to get to this. Failure is a big killer. Every single time I get on stage, I'm reminded of a moment that I got up and did something when I was a kid, probably about 14, 15, right? And I get up to do this as part of this charity fundraising night. And the first thing I say is a joke that bombs, absolutely bombs. And it's not because it's a bad joke, but because it was at the expense of someone that I really admired and cared about. And because I was young, I thought, oh, that's going to be banterish, that's going to be funny. When actually it just wasn't. It was mean and it was crass. And I always remember that moment, right? Even though we're talking, like 16, 18 years ago now, still, every time I step foot on a stage, I remember that moment. Or I remember something of the past where I felt ashamed of, felt embarrassed about, something I did wrong. And whether it's that's your conscience kind of keeping you in check, whether that's a positive thing, I don't know. But I know that failure has an ability to create shame in your life, to create this blockage of your own potential. So bad memories can creep up on all of us at the worst of times. Just when you're having the best day ever, just when you're having a great time, suddenly a memory pops in your mind of something you regret, something you're embarrassed about, and you then have to deal with that thought. It's even worse when you got to do something on stage or on a Zoom call. So today we're going to look at how do you handle that failure? How do you handle this thing of being reminded constantly by your own psyche the things that you might have fallen short on? But first of all, let me explain to you why failure is really helpful and why it's really helpful for your mind to remind yourself sometimes of the things that you might have not done great in the past. So here are some benefits of keeping in mind those things that you might regret. So number one, past failure reminds us that we're human and that life is meant to be felt. Past failure reminds us that we're actually human and that we aren't meant to escape those feelings that we regret or shame, but we're meant to embrace them, feel them, and harness them. We have permission to feel those things. The second thing is this: past failure challenges our pride and welcomes humility. Oh my gosh. How many times have you seen someone get on stage, do something on a Zoom, and they're so big-headed, there's so much pride in there, there's so much this like, oh, look at me, bravado. There's no humility left. When we can harness past failure, when we can remind ourselves of the things that we're not perfect at or that we didn't do right, it keeps us in check. It shouldn't squash down confidence. It should remind us that we're human. And that humanity relates to other people. That's why we've got to be honest with our failure. It says in the book of Proverbs in the Bible that God exalts the humble. He raises up the humble. He exalts the humble. Why? Because he can trust them with the power he wants to give them. Because he knows that humble people don't abuse power. They don't use it for their own will. Instead, they use it to connect with the shame in other people and raise them up too. Finally, past failure promises future failures and helps us put current problems in the right perspective. Let's just grab hold of that for a minute, this idea of perspective. And hi for everybody else that's joined on the call. Talita, Jenna, Steve, Helen, hi guys. Know this: failure is a memory, not an identity. Failure is a memory, not an identity. So when I, as a communicator, get up, I have to remind myself that what I did isn't necessarily who I am today. I am me, and I am failing, but I'm not a failure. There's a difference. I'm not trying to be someone and not. Instead, I'm airing my things out so that other people can see my problems, they can see where I failed, and then they can connect with that and think, hey, that guy can do it. If that girl can do it, I think I can do it too. Because failure is a memory, it's not an identity. And when I get up on the platform, or I get on a Zoom, or I get on this, whatever, and I think of all the different ways that I'm going to embarrass myself because I have done that before, I need to remind myself that I am who I am not what I do. And just because I have done something wrong doesn't mean that I will do it wrong today, because it's just a memory, right? It's just a warning. It's a guide. I'm using it to benefit myself today. So this is how, it's only got about 5 minutes left, guys, but this is how I use failure. I frame it. So I bring my failure out into the open and I put perspective around it. I put it in its place so that people understand why I'm bringing it out. Isn't it so awful, right? When you see people who, get up in front of you and talk, and they just seem to criticize themselves for the first 3 minutes of them speaking or doing whatever, right? It's so annoying. Not because, well, for 2 reasons. One, the wasting airtime. Like, I'm not here to listen to you about how much you hate yourself. Like, I want to know what you've got to say. I'm genuinely interested in what you've got to bring. And the other thing is this, is that when you get up and deface yourself, it's not pleasurable for people. It's painful. It's people thinking, why are you beating yourself up so much? You've got nothing to prove to me. Get up, speak your truth. I want to know, I want to hear, I want to grow. So I'm not talking about just vomiting your failure, here's what I did wrong this week or today. But I'm saying is intentionally bringing those things out that you feel ashamed about, putting it in the right frame, in the right perspective, so then people see it for what it is. A memory, not an identity. Something that they can then utilize. Oh, this guy made a mistake. Look at Ben, he did this wrong. I did that wrong too. Or, I'm about to do that. I might choose a different option. So don't hide it, promote it. Tell people what you did wrong. Just tell them. But frame it in a way that's constructive, not destructive. Don't stand there and criticize yourself, because no one wants that. People are for you, whether you believe it or not. So instead, frame it. Artists spend a lot of time thinking about frames. A stupid amount of time. This is a research I did a few months ago, where an artist will spend weeks or months on a piece, and they will spend so long figuring out how they're going to frame it. How is it going to sit in whatever they're going to put up? Mainly not the kind of physical exhibitions, but, the kind of on-the-wall stuff. Some artists don't frame it at all, because the wall is the frame itself. And to some extent, the older paintings, the older they get, the more they come with the frame. And sometimes the frame is just as valuable, believe it or not, as the work itself. Let me read you this. And this is from an ebook that I am currently going to finish off this week, and it'll go for at least 2 weeks tonight for you guys to get if you want it. I want to read you an excerpt out of it, and then we're going to land here. The right frame makes sense of the painting. Think about it this way. If you frame it right, it makes sense of your failure. The right frame not only complements the painting, but in the end completes it. The point is that when past failure is framed right, it becomes valuable and sometimes priceless to the listeners. There it hangs in the right frame for years to come, showing us what you created and how we should interpret that failure today. As the French artist Edgar Degas once wrote, "The frame is the reward of the artist." Frame your failure. Put the mistake in the right surroundings so that it not only complements it, but it brings it to completion. When past failure is put in the right perspective, it can produce a real wisdom and humility. Your past failure, if you bring that out right, produces wisdom and humility, no matter what it is, whether it's big or small. The next time we deliver our presentations or talks, we remind ourselves of where we came from and what we know about ourselves and the world around us. Finally, consider this. As communicators, there is no greater gift than to harness that experience, incorporate it in your craft, and invite others to invite what we've created. Frame that failure so people know just how valuable your past can be to your future. Man, that is the power of framing your failure. Don't run away from it. Promote it, share it. People want to know, people want to grow. Trust me. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to think of one failure you've made. Now, I know there's not a lot of them, so there's only a few to choose from, I know. But choose a failure. In your next presentation, your next talk, I want you to bring that failure out, but do it in a way that's constructive, that brings practical points so that people don't make the same mistake as you. And your failure will become a fanfare for other people, where they begin to celebrate and think, wow, I don't need to make the same mistakes as them because they're bringing it to light, so I don't need to go through it like they did. I hope that was really helpful. That was a little random stuff on failure on this one, but I hope that's helpful anyway. So as we finish today, have a great rest of the week. It's Christmas next week, Christmas Day next week. So however the season is presenting itself to you, have a great time. I'll see you Monday night next week, where we're going to carry on. And next week, I'm going to talk to you about insecurity and the need for approval. Just really small topics, just before Christmas too. So I'm going to talk to you about my journey with insecurity and all that kind of stuff. So bless you guys. I wish you grace and peace. Have fun tonight. And if you have any questions, if I can help at all, message me and I'll send whatever I've got, advice, experience. I'll frame my failure so that it becomes valuable to you. Okay, bless you guys. Great to hang out again, and I will see you again really soon. Thanks again.